Hello and welcome to Cricket Kathaigal. This time, I'm going to be talking about my blog to Chennai to visit the India versus Australia game played at Chepauk. Let's get started. So, I'm going to be doing this as a series of 20-25 images or small videos that I took during the course of my Chennai visit for the first game, India's first game, in fact, at Chepauk. Saw this beautiful sunset photo, all of the warmth. Just felt very nice, despite Chennai being a very warm city. But yeah, that sunset kind of set the tone. That is image one for me. So right after that brilliant sunset, I was to catch up with my friend Navneet, who had some work in the ISL. Very interesting to see that a lot of people had queued up for this match a day before the India Australia World Cup game. So it looks like Chennai as a city is fairly multicultural when it comes to adopting different sports. Nice to see that. And now at the ISL, given that I don't follow much football, my complete focus was on the butter popcorn. Anybody who's from Chennai will know that Satyam Theatre used to have the best butter popcorn experience. Not just butter popcorn, plus those you had those cheese powders. I know PVR has it and PVR has bought Satyam now, but nevertheless, original is original. Chennai has this culture of finding excellence with respect to butter popcorn and cheese powder, and I saw that on display at the hospitality box in the Chennai NFC game. So I knew where to go and where to entertain myself for that particular evening. Right. I noticed that the Ripon building, which is the building that is shown here, was lit up very well. In fact, Chennai does that. Every time in the night or evening, whenever I visit Chennai, I see that the Ripon building is lit in various shades of pink and red. And today it was pink and blue. So, that is one of the city lights that I saw. And it was also a birthday of another friend of mine who's from our 12th Man Army, that's Karishma. And had gone to Karishma's birthday to a place in Egmore, and it was so beautifully done up place. I think it's called Brasa. And there, my attention, of course, was on the South Africa Sri Lanka game, where Kusal Mendes was basically bludgeoning every ball towards fine leg. 50, 60 runs of his 91 came in that particular region. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka lost. South Africa had a thumping victory. But outside of that, I think I had a good evening where I was trying to observe all of the lights that were on display in Chennai. At the party, which was Karishma's birthday, I ended up meeting a lot of interesting people, very interesting conversations. In fact, I remember meeting somebody from the ICC media team, and I had a very interesting discussion with him about a lot of cricket nostalgia. But yes, I think uh, largely it was a very warm evening, meeting a lot of new friends, and then getting back home in time so that I'm sleeping and I'm able to wake up. But I'll leave you with some images of how that place, Brasa, looked like. While I came to Chennai, I was also having a small cold. It's still not gone. So sometimes the head feels very heavy. And we were to meet up at one place in the morning in Chennai, gather. When I say the we all, basically a new WhatsApp group that I formed. It's called the 12th Man Army. And after forming the WhatsApp group, of course, I was able to find three, four more trusted individuals who are also part of this team as much as I am. And we've called it the 12th Man Army. It's a series of fans who are traveling for cricket. So we were able to go make that. And we had our first meetup of sorts. And the first meetup, I wanted to ensure I was really fit. But unfortunately, because of the headache in the morning, and I was just roaming around this particular street trying to find that hotel, I decided, okay, fine. I'll do a quick haircut in the morning, and once I do a haircut, maybe things will solve itself. Usually, my that's my medication. in case I have too much of hair, I feel that it's a disturbance. I decided we'll do that. And right after that, I think things were okay. I'm not really saying that the haircut solved the headache, but it at least just made me feel better, a little placebo effect. So went to one of those very small lanes, old day saloons, but of course the prices were modern day. We paid about 300, 400 for a little bit of haircut and some trimming. And that marks this particular part. The next part is, of course, in moving from that particular message which said you are in queue to actually managing and scoring so many tickets. You see that? So all of these tickets were from a stand called KMK, or the Karunanidhi stand. And this is one of the latest stands in the MA Chidambaram Stadium in Chepauk, which has a straight view and it's like a mid-on view of sorts. And the seats are very nice. It's kind of the premium seats in the Chepauk Stadium. It just so happened that there was a sale that went, I think, 72 hours before the game. And it wasn't announced on so many channels. And unfortunately, I was at a dentist's place when I heard of the sale. The group just got together on a Google Meets call, and everybody was trying to see if they could book. A lot of them weren't coming to Chennai, but they helped us. Some of them got through, and they helped book four tickets for each of us. And that's how, as a group, I think we got close to 30 to 35 tickets of KMK Upper. And we, in our group, we called it the KMK East. So as much as people have been complaining, saying tickets are not there, it's very tough, it's been a bad sale. I must say that because BCCI had a staggered approach for buying tickets. So calling it the KMK East. And after all of that, we have to meet all the people who bought all the tickets, right? That's coming up next. And the 12th Man Army finally met in person. And let me try and see if I can name some of the people going from the right. The one on the right is Amit Gupta from Bangalore. Next to him is, I think his name ends with a BJ, Mahesh BJ. He came all the way from Pune. The one in red who's taking the photograph is Rish Tota from Bangalore. Next to Mahesh is Rahul Mansoor from Dharamshala. He had flown in from Ahmedabad. Behind him is Veera. You must have seen him on my tweets, the guy who makes these wild ass predictions that are always right, or wrong rather. Now then there's Vinay Kritik, the guy who's bald. Next to Vinay Kritik is Prabhu. Prabhu is a very famous Twitter, Instagrammer. Krik Prabhu is known on in the social world. Prabhu, in fact, organized all of the T-shirts for the group. He was able to customize and print. Then is Robin, one of the members of our group who inspires us in somehow getting tickets. We don't know how, but even if, in a sale of 10,000, or rather, if only 1,000 tickets went all over India, we'd be so sure that Robin would get a ticket. So he's the super sperm, in fact, in our army. Behind Robin is the famous yellow man of the Chennai Super Kings, not so yellow here, that is Saravanan. And next to Saravanan is Adhav. He's again from Chennai, from Coimbatore, but studying law in Chennai, part of our group. Below him is Arvind Soju. He came all the way from Trivandrum to watch the game. And then, of course, that's me there in that India t-shirt. All of us having breakfast in one of the hotels in Voltax Road. I think they also went to a second breakfast place, which I didn't join. But yeah, it was so nice trying to meet all of these members finally in person. This is what it felt like, especially when you have so many people gathering. Next up, we went to the stadium, and at the stadium, in fact, I was fairly pleasant to see my friend Vinay in a attire of paint. So Vinay basically decided that he wanted to do something which was fan-like. So he wanted to basically paint his head blue. But of course, unfortunately, I think with that sweat, all of that blue paint started fading away. The game starting just in time for the national anthem. And that is quite a goosebump, especially if you try to hear it from a packed stadium of about 30, 40,000. Now that was the Indian national anthem. But while the Australian national anthem was playing, I noticed three people in very different attires. They were going and showing something yellow at the Australian team. And I thought it was maybe some Aboriginal ritual where people were connecting and they were trying to help Australia, being Australia fans or traveling from Australia. But it turns out that these guys were just trying to make a reference to sandpaper. And I think his name was Sudhindra Prasad. And I met him as he was passing by. I just felt that, hey, man, we just need to move on. So I know sandpaper happened. Uh, Australia, they got punished for it. They, paid for their time and energy and, mental health in terms of being away from the game. So they've been punished for it, and the world has accepted them moving on. So this is a very um, Australian way of trying to rub it into the opponents. I'm sure there are other things you can do, but sandpaper is not one of them. I didn't like this at all. So as the game got started, one thing that really came to mind was how hot Chennai was. Of course, it's as a city, as they say, right? Chennai has three weathers: hot, hotter, hottest. This was definitely on the higher scale, where I think the daytime temperatures were about 37, 38 degrees, and it felt a lot hotter. So people were, shaking all of those boundary boards. They get these 4 and 6 placards. So people were just using that as a fan, and that was the rhythmic motion that we noticed for the first few minutes, where I think some fans were getting roasted in the heat. I think they just couldn't take the heat. In fact, my son, he felt that this was getting way, way, way too hot inside the stadium. So there's one thing that I'll have to be really careful about in some of the other stadiums when I take him for World Cup games, in terms of, okay, how shielded is he from the weather? Because he's still not yet a true cricket fan. But yes, very hot weather in Chennai, and fans had it a little tough. But while that heat was there, you obviously had ways to, cool your body, and that was, of course, through the free drinking water that was available, an initiative by BCCI. I remember Jay Shah had tweeted about it. Of the first day in Ahmedabad, I think these things weren't available for the first day, for the first half as such. But after that, I think it's been working very well with clockwork precision. To do this at scale, I think is a good initiative. As much as people may say, "Arey kya re, thoda sa pani de diya aur kya hai?" But as much as you can say it, somebody has to go do it. And I think this has been a good initiative where at least people don't end up paying 15, 20 rupees for a glass of water every time they want to go drink. And because it's, there are parts of India which are still having so much of heat. So if you're able to go keep your body hydrated, it's also helping from the health standpoint. So great initiative by BCCI to serve water, especially at the scale at which the audience comes to stadiums here, where you have anything in excess of 30, 35,000 people at stadiums. And yes, Chennai also had maintained the toilets be very, very clean. This is the best experience I've so far seen, at least amidst the stadiums I've been to. I've just been to Ahmedabad and Chennai, and possibly the Dharamshala one later this week. So, so yeah, those are some of the things that I noticed as far as the amenities were concerned. Next up, finally, something on the game. It was so nice to be in a position to go click some photographs. I love these frames, and I know I'm sometimes slightly narcissistic. I love my own frames. I love basically click photographs of the action. This will make for great memories. And I just love the way India bombed Australia. They were doing well, and then they suddenly collapsed, and Australia had a subpar target that was set for India. So that way, the first game, a lot of things went right for India. India's middle overs bowling, as well as the way Indian spinners basically put the choke on. I love the way Kuldeep, Jadeja, and Ashwin, I think all of them together, I think it was 105 for 6 or 105 for 7. They did a great job against the Australians. And yes, that meant we were all happy as Indian fans. So if you were at KMK Upper, you would have noticed this guy. especially there was a security guard who was next to the TV cameras. So there's a lot of space around him. And he had the best seat in the house. It was a near straight view. But this guy was completely poker faced for the large part of the game. No emotion whatsoever when it came to celebrating if something is happening. Maybe he wasn't an avid watcher of the game, or he was maybe too serious a cricket watcher. We saw him in the same position, didn't move an inch, and that's how he was watching the game. But yes, a lot of us were envious of that seat. So much of space around, focus on the game. That had to be the best seat of the match at Chepauk. The Indian batting basically started off exactly where it left against New Zealand in the World Cup semi-final of 2019. Within the first 3 overs, we had 3 wickets down, 2 for 3. Then we were 5 for 3. And what we missed then was, of course, a Virat Kohli innings. But today, that wasn't going to be happening again. Virat Kohli was playing, and I knew that Virat and KL both were such good players that KL, especially when you don't have a very big target, like this is like a 200 target. So I'm sure KL is going to finish the game for us. With Virat, there's of course that feeling that he is gaining in confidence and he will be there to bail India out. He did, but very nearly he also got out. But got out at it could have been 20 for 4 when Mitchell Marsh failed to hold on to that chance. But yeah, it was Kohli eliminating Australia. So it was a Kohlinator of sorts. And I think as cricket fans, we enjoy some of those straight drives that he hit of Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood. These are frames just before those moments that happened. And of course, it made for very happy memories, staying at the ground and watching a Virat Kohli and KL Rahul masterclass. So one of the other things that I observed was that the Chepauk Stadium had a first aid center. It was run by Kaveri Hospitals, which is a known hospital in Chennai. And one of my friends Vinay basically had a headache and he went to the first aid center. So it was good to see that the stadium is, prepared. They have an ambulance. All of these things were, waiting in tow. Another thing that got my attention after all the first aid was when I was walking out of the stadium, I saw Campa Cricket advertising. Now, Campa, I don't think launched in time for the World Cup, but it wasn't associating itself with the World Cup. So what they did was they basically put themselves on the boundary, or rather outside of the boundary of the ground. And I don't know if this would come under ambush marketing because they weren't associated with the World Cup as such, but fairly clever strategy to make sure that people still get to know about Campa cricket, even though they wouldn't get it inside the stadium. And finally, Sea of Humanity. It is tough when you're exiting any cricket stadium in India, especially if it's 15 20,000 of fans who are trying to move out at that stage. If it's a smaller stadium, in Chepauk's case, I think it is about 35-40,000 people, and with that capacity. So all of us trying to move out, definitely yes, it's going to be very tough to get out. And I had a tough time trying to get out because from there I had to then go to the government estate metro station. And but the good thing is that the metro station in Chennai takes your match tickets and then does not charge you any more money, so that you're able to find your way back home from wherever you are in Chennai. So that I did not see that happen in Ahmedabad, but that's for the other vlog. I hope you've enjoyed listening to what memories were made as part of this little Chennai blog as such. Any suggestions, please do comment. Please let me know how good or bad it was. So till then, I hope you subscribe to the channel. And if you're not, it's a good time to do it. See you around in the next video.